meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the July 26, 2022 regular scheduled Portland City Council meeting in the Linda Hartlock Chambers. Please stand for a moment for the pledge of allegiance, Lord's Prayer, and a moment of silence for those protecting us over our country. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lord, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kelly Gangle. Here. Pat Hovis.
Here.
Beth Gilman. Here. Roseanne Hickman.
Present.
Richard Morgan.
Here.
Margaret Phillips.
Here.
Jerry Terrell.
Thank you, Council. You previously received the July 12th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. So I have a motion to approve the meeting.
Madam President, I move to accept the July 12 minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trolley. A motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Trolley to accept the July 12, 2022 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. The chair notes that certification has been made regarding compliance of the rules and notifications of this meeting. We have no guest presentation, no public comment. Move on to executive officers' reports. Council, under correspondence, there is a new liquor permit, the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, Lake Shore Fund Company LLC, DBA Visions VR, 162 East Perry Street, Port Clinton, Ohio, 43452. It's a new permit, and the chief does not have an objection to that permit. He's here this evening. If council so chooses, they may take action to that this evening. We'll get under correspondence. Also, the little recorder that we've used in meetings and stuff is missing now for committee meetings. So if everyone could check to see if anyone has it.
Want to borrow mine, but I have one.
Well, we don't need it right now, just, it needs to be given.
She's meeting after this meeting.
Okay. Move on. And that's all I have this evening. Move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm surprised he's here. I'm glad to see Chief Johnson here. I was going to thank him for his hard work on the Bay Township, Portage Township, Catawba Township contracts that council will be taking action on this evening. I know you've worked for months on these and appreciate the work. Not only is it it's a win-win. A win for the city of Port Clinton and a win for the citizens that surround us. You have an excellent department and everybody gets top-notch service. So thank you, and I hope council sees that and recognizes the work Chief Johnson has done to get these contracts put together. Moving on, the next topic, the new walkway down at Jefferson Street, the riverfront. It surprised me the amount of use that it's getting. I try to make it down there as often as I can, and the people fishing, people sightseeing, taking pictures. There was a guy out there the other day painting a scene. The unfortunate thing is it's also, we've discovered, very popular with the geese. We're always dealing with birds. So the city crews are putting together a plan to clean geese droppings twice a week the best they can. So just be aware of that we are aware of the goose droppings and are trying to address those as quickly as possible. Sticking with the Portage River, last Tuesday, ODNR made it official. The Portage River Water Trail is an official water trail. It either starts or stops here in Port Clinton, depending on which way you're going up and down the Portage River. There will be signage going up very soon. We just got it in from the state the other day. Mr. Colston and Lucas Johnson are going to be surveying sites for the signage recognizing the Portage River Water Trail. There are, for anyone out there listening or anyone in this room that enjoys kayaking, there are some wonderful brochures out there that talk about the different way stations and sightseeing spots. So that's a great addition. Kayaking has become very huge around here, as we all know. The traffic light at Fulton and 3rd, although it had not been repaired or replaced was hit again today by another vehicle, causing additional damage. So the crews just took it completely down. Mrs. Ostheimer and Mr. Colston are working with the insurance company from the original Whack-A-Mole to get it replaced and go from there. From last Thursday to this past Monday, there was a traffic study undertaken at the intersection of Monroe and Perry Street, that 5 Points intersection by the Armory and the Jet Express. You know, we've seen increased traffic not only because of the Jet, but because of increased development in our downtown area, traffic going to the art garage. So it's really critical. I think in the past couple of years there have been a total of 3 accidents, and 2 of them have happened this year in that intersection. We'll know in about 3 months. We'll get the results of this traffic study in about 3 months. They had both the traffic counters as you drive, and then cameras, and they'll be counting pedestrians and looking at the movement, and so hopefully, again, in 3 months we'll have some idea of some suggestions from the traffic company. It's affiliated with Pogemeyer Design Group. They're out of Baltimore. We had a really nice conversation with them 2 weeks ago, and they gave us some demonstrations on what they do. It's top-notch professional folks. The Port Clinton Firefighters Association Annual Chicken Barbecue is on Sunday, August 14th from 11 to 2 at the Port Clinton Fire Station. I have tickets here. They're $15 each. You can also get them by calling the fire station at 419-734-3430, 419-734-3430. Dine in, take out. Again, I have tickets. I'm sure Chief has some tickets, but my tickets will get you a nicer chicken than his will. Also, the Port Clinton Kiwanis Club is having a raffle in conjunction with the Kiwanis Club of Greater Columbus. $5 a raffle ticket. One winner will be selected for 2 seats at every home game this year for the Ohio State Buckeyes. 8 home games, including Notre Dame, Penn State, that school up north, and several others. So I have those tickets as well. I will be selling those through the weekend of the 5th. I believe it's 7th, Sunday the 7th is when that raffle will end. So again, if you're interested in those, come see me. You know, we're obviously a service-laden community. You know, folks come to the Port Clinton area not only for the lake, but for the restaurants and the shopping and all the entertainment that we have in this area. And we're struggling right now as a service sector community, just finding a number of people to work. You know, we've all been to restaurants where they say, hey, it's going to be a half hour before we get you a table, and there's 7 empty seats just because they don't have the staff. I was asked and graciously volunteered to serve as a guest host a week ago Monday at Slater's, and it was a fun time. I not only said, you know, hi, welcome to Slater's, I'm the mayor of Port Clinton, and watched their face go wow, but did some bus tables and so forth. I just want to encourage you guys to do that as well. Pick a restaurant, roll silverware. If you're out for breakfast and the waitresses are running with their chicken, get a chicken with their head cut off, you know, grab the coffee and walk around to folks. You get to meet some nice people. It adds to that experience that people have while they come visit the Port Clinton area, and hopefully will encourage them to come back a second, third, and fourth time. I had a blast doing it. You know, the last time I busted a table, I think I was 14 or 15 years old, so it brought back some memories. I hurt the next day a lot more than I did when I was 14 and 15, but it was fun nonetheless. Port Clinton Day at Fifth Third Field is set with the Jet Express and the Mud Hens. It's going to be on Sunday, August 28th. The game is against the Louisville Riverbats. The first pitch will be at 2:05 p.m. The boat will leave the dock at 10:30 in the morning. Tickets, not only for the jet ride and the game, will be $60. You can also call the Mud Hens ticket office directly to get just tickets if you want to take yourself up there. Again, it's all Port Clinton all day long. The VFW will be providing the color guard. The Port Clinton High School Touch of Class will be singing the national anthem. A young lady near and dear to my heart, Layla Rivera, will be delivering the game ball to the pitcher's mound. That's, for those of you that don't know, that's my granddaughter. Nicole Kokensparger from the Chamber will be throwing out the first pitch, if we get there on time this year. Rainbow Acres will again be having an encore performance with Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And our hometown heroes this year are the U.S. Coast Guard Port Security Unit 309. They have their reserve unit. They've basically been on active duty for a decade or so now, stationed out at Erie Industrial Park. These folks are in our community constantly. They just are under the radar. So they will be our hometown heroes. The number for the Jet Express to order your tickets is 419-732-2800, 732-2800. Mr. Colston and I had an opportunity to meet last week with two representatives of the Port Clinton Ministers Association. They have a wonderful event that they're putting together. It's called Mission Day on September 10th, Saturday, September 10th. Their goal is to have a whole wide range of activities throughout the greater Port Clinton area that folks can get involved with. Look for more details on that. They approached the city about ideas. We gave them about 25 or 30 different ideas, ranging from painting fire hydrants to raising funds for picnic tables in our parks and anything and everything in between, reading to kids. So they're going to get together with their group and get some more information out with that. And then finally tonight, folks, I'm going to give you a little reprieve. From time to time, the calendar does some crazy things. And with my day job, I probably will not be at the city council meeting the 2nd or 4th Tuesday in August. Just my day job is going to conflict. So, yeah. don't all be upset at
Somebody
once.
had to say it. That's what it did.
I'll be sure to give Mr. Colston a complete report to read to everyone.
I'm sure Mr. Colston will have
And with that overwhelming love and affection, that ends my report tonight, Madam Chairman, unless anyone has any questions.
Does anyone have questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
The light at Fulton and Third.
yes.
I'm kind of getting into this four-way stop stuff. I think the traffic flows better. I don't swear at the people in front of me, wonder why they're not turning right on red. People aren't going through 100 miles an hour. Is there any thought of keeping it a four-way stop? You won't run into them. You know, you want to keep replacing them.
We've had that discussion internally, and the thought is for emergency service response, it's probably best to keep that traffic light up there. So at this point, that's the path we're going to take.
I'm not denying that. I don't
Yeah.
understand that concept,
Yeah.
what you just said. I'm not disagreeing with it. I don't understand it. For emergency service, why does it? Yeah, but why do we?
Chief, you want to? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
But I mean, they could just they could come through and it's green, but they could come through and it's red. I don't know how that helps them. I'm not saying it doesn't. I don't understand that.
It breaks the traffic flow up. Right now, at the four-way stop, it's constant traffic. And with a red and a green there, it breaks the flow up. My concern is that is the main response route to the station. And I think it would create some issues if it remained a four-way stop. We've got the beer trucks and the food trucks on the corner of Third and Fulton, 4 Bells, or I don't know what it's called now, is it still
Yeah,
Bells.
That is a blind corner. When they park there, you can't see around. And with a stoplight, you can get around, no issues. So, we haven't killed anybody in 3 weeks, bonus. We have had a couple wrecks down there. I am constantly seeing people cruise through it. They're accustomed to it. So, the fire department will live with what we see, or what we wind up with. But my concern is it does break the traffic up.
So you'd rather have pockets of 6, 8 cars rather than a car and another car and another car.
I'd rather see traffic stop totally back towards the viaduct than trying to dodge a car, and then another car, and then another car.
All right, I mean, I can see that. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Move on to the auditor's report.
Thank you, Madam President. Council, before you on a second reading, with a request to pass tonight is ordinance 23, the supplemental appropriations I shared with the Finance Committee last week. Just a small amendment I'm requesting, just a small reduction to the Jet Express project's amount of $104,000, reducing that to just over $95,000, and Ms. Hovis, I believe, will offer an amendment when that comes up. Just a small change, an oversight that I had when I was writing it, but that should be all. But I'm obviously happy to answer any questions you have about the ordinance or the summary memo I provided at the last meeting. And that's all, Madam President. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Bealow? Okay. Treasurer's report is not with us, but Ms. Ostheimer is going to read.
Treasurer's report as of July 25th, 2022, supplied by the Auditor's Office. Bed tax is at $119,007.86. And dock tax is currently at $19,950. Just a note on that, I invoiced 28 outstanding invoices for watercraft tax. Most of them are paid, so that will probably increase maybe another $300 for the year.
Thank you. Law Director.
Thank you, Madam President. Just an update. We had Ms. Gangle brought to administrative attention. There was an issue at the fountains with some violations the residents noticed, and we're not getting any relief from those violations. The city contacted the state and made a report to the state of those violations, and I followed up with the state today, and the violations that they were reported, they were logged in. The state went out to the fountains in May, shortly after the report was made. They did in fact find violations. They did cite the fountains with those violations, and just a week ago the fountains submitted corrections to all of those violations. So the violations should be completed with the state. Also, there was an issue with the meter we had with the water department. They have gone ahead and made arrangements to fix that as well. That should be done soon here in the month of August. And there was an issue with the fence. They've gone ahead and applied for a fence permit, so they're trying to get that taken care of as well. So not only did they take care of the issues with the state, but they also are moving forward with other issues that were reported. So that was a very successful outcome for the residents. So I just wanted to report that, and hopefully Ms. Gangle can take that on to her constituents and see if they are satisfied with what took place.
Thank you.
What violation, what's the background to this?
What we reported to the state were some issues with the roads, potholes, things like that, issues with lighting. The street lights weren't all working. Issues, there were high weeds in different areas, and they cited that under like vermins. They didn't want, vermins. And is that it? The bridge. The bridge.
Wasn't
No.
This is reported to the state?
That's reported to the state. They have a section for manufactured parks, for mobile home parks.
Those aren't city roads or city lights, they're private.
It's private property, so there's a division that handles that, so they sent out investigators, and out of those things that were reported, they did find violations. They did not share with me which violations they found, but they said that the violations that they cited were corrected.
Thank you.
Nothing additional, Madam
Okay,
President. Thank you.
Move on to supervisor's reports. Mr. Colston.
Really nothing tonight, except I'm gonna wish the mayor happy birthday for tomorrow. I know he's trying to keep it quiet, but he always gets me, so I just wanted to pass that along.
Did you bring cake?
No. I'm not as nice as you are, I guess.
Does anyone have any
We'll do
questions for
lunch.
Mr. Colston this evening? No. Thank you. Chief Johnson, do you have any additional?
I would like to thank the law director for her assistance in the contracts. It's been a long road to haul, I guess the easiest way to put it. Mr. Bealo's input is very well appreciated, so. Mike, did you get any tips at the Slayers the other night?
No, I didn't.
I'll give you one. Other than that, I have nothing else, thank you.
Chief Scott, do you have anything to say? No. Okay, thank you. Move on to committee reports. Finance, Mrs. Owens?
We will be voting on those ordinances tonight for fire department, since we had our meeting last Monday.
Thank you. Environment and Public Works, Mrs. Hickman.
Nothing tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. Safety Services, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. Before this meeting, we met to discuss ordinance 2422. This is the one about preventing people from leaving all sorts of things out in the boulevard and by the curb. As a group, we talked quite a bit and also decided that yes, what is this ordinance as is proposed will be good, and that's what we will, but we voted 3-0 for it to go through. So it'll be actually the third reading next time around though. In case we have to change something between now and then. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Economic and Community Development, Mrs. Gilman.
We have our meeting after this meeting tonight. Madam
We'll move on to correspondence. Under correspondence, we have the Planning Commission June 9, 2022 meeting minutes in the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, Lakeshore Fun Co., LLC, DBA, Visions, VR 1632E, East Ferry Street, Port Clinton, Ohio 43452. Does council wish to take any action as to the correspondence this evening?
Madam President, I move to accept the correspondence.
Would council like to do anything with the liquor permit?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to waive any and all objections to.
Thank you, Mr. Troy. Do you have a second?
President.
Thank you, Mrs. Hickman. We have a motion by Mr. Troy, seconded by Mrs. Hickman to waive the requirements by council for the liquor permit. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Pat Hovis,
Yes.
Kelly Gagel,
Yes.
Richard Morgan,
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman,
Yes.
Jerry Trolley,
Yes.
Martin Phillips.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried by a vote of 7-0. Would council like to do anything else with correspondence this evening?
Yes, Madam President. I'd like to recommend that we accept all the correspondence as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trolley. I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Trolley, to accept the correspondence as stated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Thank you. The correspondence is accepted. We will move on to readings of ordinances and resolutions. Under third readings, we have ordinance 17-22. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 17-22.
Ordinance 17-22, an ordinance retaining the home rule authority to retain all municipal ordinances that regulate and/or prohibit the possession, discharge, ignition, and/or exploding of fireworks, and to retain all ordinances that regulate noise, disturbance of the peace, and disorderly conduct by opting out of amended substitute House Bill 172, and reaffirming the existing ban on the possession, sale, or discharge of fireworks as set forth in Chapter 1519 of the City of Port Clinton Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 17-22?
Actually, I have a question. Sure. How heavily was this enforced before this House bill was passed? So like how often, like on 4th of July, did you guys cite people for fireworks?
I would say we cited people very rarely, warnings. I mean, we a lot of times, we would get called there and
Sure.
give warnings and stuff, but I would say very few citations.
Okay. And then what is your guys' why are you guys wanting to enforce this?
As the house fires and things like that, the dry conditions is elevated beyond. Every year somewhere, there is a fire. Unfortunately, we've only had 2 related to fireworks, but the Saturday before the 4th, 70 people were displaced in Toledo due to bottle rockets. Burned down an entire place. The other thing that you've got is the noise issues and things in town. The house is so tight. Up in country, it's not necessarily that big a deal, but the noise, the booms, the bangs, the chance of fire, and the accidents. We've had a couple out on Sand Road where people's lost hands and fingers. So.
And Ms. Gangle, prior to this bill being passed, commercial fireworks were not allowed in the state of Ohio. Now they are.
Okay.
So instead of just the bottle rockets, the smaller fireworks, now they're under this bill, the big ones are permitted. So I don't know if you saw the 4th of July, a lot of people were shooting off the same type of fireworks that the city was shooting off in its display. And that's one of the main concerns, is because those are of a higher caliber and can cause a lot more injury, house fires, noise, things like that. And a lot of probably, just from following the municipal, Ohio Attorney Municipal Law page, probably about 90% of the municipalities have opted out of that just because of the dangers that this can pose for the municipalities.
Sure. That's it. I apologize if this is redundant. I was absent at the meeting. This was initially proposed, so.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 17-22?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr.
I
Truitt.
make a motion to retain the emergency clause.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Honestly,
Thank you, Mrs. Hickman. Any further discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Mrs. Hickman, to retain the emergency clause as to ordinance 17-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Kelly Gagel.
yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. The emergency clause is hereby retained as to ordinance 17-22. Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 17-22?
Madam President,
Mr. Truitt.
make a motion to adopt ordinance 17-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hickman.
Should-
Any additional discussion? I have a motion by Mr. Troy, seconded by Mrs. Hickman, to adopt ordinance 17-22. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
And Kelly Gagel.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 17-22 is hereby adopted. Will the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 18-22?
Ordinance number 18-22, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Safety and Service to enter into a contract with the Board of Trustees of Bay Township for the city to provide emergency ambulance services within Bay Township and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 18-22?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Trolley?
make a motion to retain the emergency clause.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman. Any discussion? I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Mrs. Gilman, to retain the emergency clause as to ordinance 18-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Kelly Gagel.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. The emergency clause is hereby retained as to ordinance 18-22. The mayor's getting you some water too.
Yep.
Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 18-22?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Trolley.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 18-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mrs. Gilman. Any discussion? Okay. I have a motion to adopt ordinance 18-22 by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Mrs. Gilman. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kelly Gagel.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 18-22 is hereby adopted. The clerk will read by title and summary only, ordinance 19-22.
Ordinance number 19-22, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Safety and Service to enter into a contract with the Board of Trustees of Catawba Island Township for the city to provide emergency ambulance services within Catawba Island Township, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 19-22?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr.
I'd
Trolley.
make a motion retaining the emergency clause in ordinance 19-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second? A second. Thank you, Mrs. Hovis. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Mrs. Hovis, to retain the emergency clause as to ordinance 19-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Hovis?
Oh, yes.
Roseanne Hickman?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Ellie Gagel?
Yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 19-22?
Madam President,
Thank you, Yes, Mr. Trolley.
make a motion to adopt ordinance 19-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hickman. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Mrs. Hickman, to adopt ordinance 19-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Pat Hovis?
Yes.
Kelly Gangel?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman?
Yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 19-22 is hereby adopted. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 20-22?
Ordinance number 20-22, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Safety and Service to enter into a contract with the Board of Trustees of Portage Township for the city to provide emergency ambulance services within Portage Township and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 20-22?
Madam President,
Mr. Trolley.
make a motion to retain the emergency clause in ordinance 20-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Hovis. Any discussion? Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Ms. Hovis, to retain the emergency clause as to ordinance 20-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Kelly Gangel?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Pat Hovis?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. The emergency clause is hereby retained as to ordinance 20-22. Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 20-22?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr.
make a
Trolley.
motion to adopt ordinance 20-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hovis. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, second by Ms. Hovis, to adopt ordinance 20-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kelly Gangel?
Yes.
Pat Hovis?
Yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 20-22 is hereby adopted. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 21-22?
Ordinance number 21-22, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Safety and Service to enter into a contract to furnish fire protection to the Township of Portage, Ottawa County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 21-22?
Madam President,
Mr.
make a
Trolley.
motion to retain the emergency clause in ordinance 21-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hovis. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Mrs. Hickman, to retain the emergency clause as to ordinance 21-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Pat Hovis?
Yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
And Kelly Gangel?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. The emergency clause is hereby retained. Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 21-22?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr.
I
Trolley.
make a motion to adopt ordinance 21-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Hovis. Any discussion? I have a motion by Mr. Trolley, seconded by Mrs. Hovis, to adopt ordinance 21-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Roseanne Hickman?
Yes.
Beth Gilman?
Yes.
Margaret Phillips?
Yes.
Kelly Gangel?
Yes.
Pat Hovis?
Yes.
Richard Morgan?
Yes.
Jerry Trolley?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 21-22 is hereby adopted. Move on to second readings of ordinances and resolutions. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 23-22?
Ordinance number 23-22, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6-22 as amended of the city of Port Clinton and adjusting accounts within the city of Port Clinton.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 23-22?
Madam President,
Yes, Ms. Lewis.
we're changing amendment language. I move to strike in the line Jet Express Projects Funds number 804, 104 million, that's right, Gabe. And replace with 95,912, and to make conforming changes to ordinance 23-22.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I think Mr. Beal explained the reasoning behind that. So we have a motion by Mrs. Hovis, seconded by Mr. Troy, to amend ordinance 23-22 as stated. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Roseanne Hickman,
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Kelly Gangel,
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 23-22 is hereby amended. Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 23-22?
Madam President, I move to re-waive 3 required readings.
It's like a quiz.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Hovis, seconded by Mr. Trolley to waive the 3 required readings as to ordinance 23-22. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kelly Gangel.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. The 3 required readings as to ordinance 23-22 are hereby waived. Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 23-22?
Madam President, I move to adopt ordinance 23-22.
Thank you, Mrs. Hovis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trolley. Any discussion? Okay. I have a motion by Ms. Hovis, second by Mr. Trolley to adopt ordinance 23-22. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Roseanne Hickman.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Kelly Gangel.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 23-22 is hereby adopted, or as it was amended. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 24-22?
Ordinance number 24-22, an ordinance preventing any person, firm, corporation, or association, regardless of intent, to leave furniture, junk, litter, and rubbish at the boulevard, curbside, or alley for more than 24 hours and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 24-22? Seeing none, ordinance 24-22 will be moved to its 3rd reading on August 9th, 2022 at the regular scheduled council. Will the clerk please read by title and summary only, resolution 22-6?
Resolution 22-6, a resolution of the City of Port Clinton adopting the federally approved Ottawa County multi-jurisdictional national hazard mitigation plan and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to resolution 22-6 this evening? Seeing none, resolution 22-6 will be moved to its 3rd reading on August 9th, 2022 at the regular scheduled council meeting. We have no first readings. Move on to business from the floor. Mr. Morgan?
Nothing.
Nothing. Mrs. Gangle?
Yeah, so I'd like to thank Mr. Colston for his help earlier, last week. I had a resident in my ward ask me some questions regarding the wetlands, and he was able to give me that information. And thank our law director for all your work with the fountains. And then I just wanted to see if we could have some discussion regarding Portland Pizzagate and Millville Madison with Sloopies and that whole debacle, and just understand kind of the facts of it and not just the pitchforks and fires on Facebook to see what happened. I don't know who had the discussions, or was something the law director had, or,
Well, I can handle this one.
yeah.
So on the night in question you're talking about, they were trying to sell pizzas within the Mom area. If you guys remember, we have an ordinance, excuse me? Yeah, she said Sloopies. Section 719.09 prohibits you from selling, no street or sidewalk vendor shall sell food or beverage for immediate consumption in that area. It also states that the street vendors cannot conduct business in downtown waterfront overlay district and within 100 feet of a food service operating that has a fixed building. Okay, very simple, easy explanation from that regards. The penalty for that is a misdemeanor, I believe. Mrs. Shanker, you can help me, but it's a 4th degree misdemeanor of not less than a $100 fine. Obviously, we didn't do that. There was talk that we called the police to come up and everything, and if anybody knows anything about downtown, the police are there every Friday and Saturday night. They come through Mom, patrol the area, go over to the Jet Express, boat leaves, they come back, and they're back and forth all night long. So the police were standing right there when all this went on. They were asked by Nicole Kokensbarg, and I was there too, to tell them that they were not allowed to be there. I have since met with John and Nicole and I met on Monday. He called me up and I said, I certainly would like to talk to you. And he seemed to understand. He'd already read the ordinance by then, so he was already prepared when he came in. And he agreed and understood. He was told by me that you can certainly deliver. You can deliver anywhere you want to. You can't have table service out there. None of the bars up there can have table service out there. They do a carry out and people, they bring it out to their counter outside. People come and pick it up. Very, very simple explanation. I even told him that he could put a sandwich board down that way if he chose to. That would help him out to dictate people to go that way. He acted like fine, and I told him I was not very happy that he started a firestorm on Facebook without giving me a call. And I told him if that happened again, have the police tell me and I will call you that night. I have no problem with that. So when we left the meeting, I thought everything was fine, and I'm hearing that there's still stuff on Facebook. I do not have Facebook. I get screenshots sent to me, so that's kind of where it stands. To me, it's a no thing, and I even told John that this ordinance that you guys passed protects you. So would you like me to allow a food truck of selling pizza slices right out in front of your store to sell pizzas? I don't think you would like that. And he agreed. He said, oh, no, 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 no. So there was no different than taking your cart down the middle of Madison Street and selling pizzas to people that have businesses right there. I mean, the ordinance is plain as day. So that's my take on it. I don't know if you want to add anything.
There's nothing to prohibit him from setting up shop right out, or setting up a table right outside of his shop. He hasn't, I don't believe, to this point, filled out a cafe permit, which is free.
No, I don't believe he has.
He can do that. And according, some of this information has been disseminated through the chamber in Main Street, but unfortunately he has chosen not to be a member of either one of those organizations in our downtown. So, but now that you've got the information.
Did that answer your question there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And then during COVID, just to give you some background, it was Mr. Belo's idea. There used to be a fee for the cafe permit. And Mr. Belo brought it to the forefront that we should waive that fee with everything, the restrictions of not allowing them to have many people in their businesses and everything. So we waive that requirement, no fee or anything like that. And they could put a table or sell, in front of their area. And that was right after COVID. It started right when the mom had hit. And then last year, it was discussed that it wasn't an automatic thing. They would have to come in and apply for it, but there was no fee. But you had to come in and provide insurance, sign with an agreement with the city and such like that. But it's available to any business that they can come and do that, so. Cool. Just to give you that little background.
Yeah, thank you. And then my next order of business, I have a list. No, I'm just kidding. Happy birthday, Mike.
Thank you.
Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. I think things are going along quite well. I had a few little problems and I went right to the people involved and got those taken care of, so we're working right. People are asking, why are we doing it this way? Why are we doing it that way? Thank you, that's all.
Mrs. Owens.
Thank you for the water, Mike, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
And that is all, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Trolley.
Yeah, I've got a couple of items. First, ordinance 24-22. I'm just kind of kicking this around and see the administration's thoughts. Could we add the Republic containers to that on the boulevard?
What do you mean?
You
Is it
drive
already
around town.
That's already in
That's already
there.
in
Yeah.
ordinance.
Yeah.
It's already in ordinance.
There is, it is?
It's in the,
Why can't I?
it's in the Republic ordinance.
It's in the,
How did I miss that?
it's in the ordinance for trash pickup for
I
the,
believe it reads you must take it out at like 5 o'clock the night before.
So-
It has to be back.
On 6th Street, across from Mr. Holman's house, those containers have been there for years. I'm not talking days and weeks. They've been out there for years. We need to get those people. I mean, there's 3 of them constantly in the boulevard.
do you
You're
have
saying
an
they don't
address?
pick up the trash there?
No, they put the trash
They
up,
just leave the
but they
dumps.
leave the containers in the boulevard.
If you provide those addresses to.
Yeah, she
Mr.
sends
Schenker.
letters all the time. Mrs. Schenker sends letters all the time.
I send letters out all the time.
I thought the city owned the trash containers, so I've been taking my trash over there.
You get away with it? If you get away with it, go ahead.
What's your address, Larry?
419 West 6th, but it's across the road. Don't
Yeah,
go
it's
by.
across the road.
So, Mr.
Alley.
if you can get me the addresses, I send letters all the time, warning them of the ordinance, and, if they usually, I tell them that they need to immediately follow the ordinance, or else, I'll see them over at municipal.
I'll just have somebody knock on their door tomorrow and let them fill
Okay.
in on it. That way
Okay,
it'd be easy to take care of.
okay.
Chief Johnson, the ordinances have been all passed. Any issues with the contracts? Did you send those out?
They are in the township's hands. I've talked to the Township twice already. I have a meeting set up with them next week. Portage Township, I've sent them to talk to the trustees. Bay Township, the trustees have, and
Good.
well, at least I don't mind that.
Right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's all. Happy birthday, Mr. Snyder.
Thank you. Mrs. Hickman.
Happy birthday, Mel. Hope your day is great. That's it.
Mrs. Gilman.
Happy birthday, Mayor, and thank you for getting rid of all the mayflies like you guys did.
They were back.
They were back last night.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't make it they didn't make it all the way to my house, so
Yeah,
thank you
they
for that.
They were weird. Yeah.
I'll look forward to that.
Troy, did you have something else?
I just wondered when they're turning the power back on, but if we still have
No,
The 18th,
18th, okay, thank you.
today's the 27th.
they were supposed to be on, it's supposed to be on already.
Oh, August,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking
No,
about.
no, they were supposed to be on already.
And their
Really?
defense,
What's-
and their defense, a
Yeah.
bunch of them got called.
They're everywhere, so yes.
Right, right.
They got called.
Emergencies and tornadoes and stuff. are taking
Takes
priority.
precedence over a couple of streetlights.
Yes.
Seeing no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move this August body adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Troy. Motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Troy to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.